Good evening. It's good to be back after our break last week. For thousands of years, the art of tracking has been handed down through the generations. But over the last 20 years, many of these traditional tracking skills have disappeared.
The Tracker Academy aims to change this and train skilled trackers to again become the keepers of traditional knowledge and culture in Africa.
Ons sluit by Brahman terwyl hy meester en leerling spoorsnyers deur die Karoo Bosveld volg.
We tend to think tracking is just for game rangers in the bush, but actually most of us are tracking every day. We have to read the signs in order to know where we're going. Like this one. If I didn't read it and turn left here, I'd be horribly lost.
Thankfully, I didn't get lost. Samora Game Lodge lies just outside of Graaff-Reinet and is the new home of the Tracker Academy. It's the first of its kind in southern Africa, funded by the Rupert Foundation and run by senior trackers Alex van den Heever, Pocky Bernardi and Renius Mhlongo from Londolozi. These 5 young men are the new recruits. All are unemployed and come from rural areas around the country. They've been put through an intensive and tough year-long course to become qualified trackers.
The last 5 months, we want to see that come out now. Okay, so give it your best now for the last 5 days.
The art of tracking goes back hundreds of thousands of years, but is dying out along with the hunter-gatherer way of life. To save this immense reservoir of indigenous knowledge and skill is what has motivated Alex to start the Tracker Academy. But I wondered how necessary this skill is in today's world.
Well, it's certainly necessary in ecotourism, research, anti-poaching, and as the ecotourism industry is growing, so the requirement for more and more trackers to find animals for international travelers is increasing.
What is the course content? What does it entail?
It's probably 70% practical. We leave every morning quite early and we spend most of the day in the veld. We first focus on the track and sign identification, and then we move to the following of the spoor.
There are only 19 qualified senior trackers in South Africa. Alex is one of them.
Fresh cheetah track this morning. From this morning, that he's been going backwards and forwards on this road. I used to spend some time here. This is a back foot. You can see the claw marks here. The back track of the back foot's often narrower, and the whole track is smaller. The toes are also smaller.
Cheetah and similar size now? Or?
Yes, and often can be confused with leopard, and in this area, caracal. A caracal track can be almost that size, the big males. They must learn how to identify all the spoor. There's so much, and there's so many variables. Each animal's track can show up differently in different types of soil. And as you follow, the more you follow an animal, the more you understand and you walk in their footsteps for that period of hours that you're following. So you get to see how often they're marking, where they're moving, what they're eating. You become intimate with their lives.
South Africa also has only 2 master trackers, and Pocky Bernardi is one of them. He has a deep knowledge of plants, birds, and animal behavior. Pocky is responsible for training and evaluation of the students for the first 6 months in the Karoo. Renius takes him for the second 6 months at Londolozi. Each track tells a story of an animal's behavior, especially that of rare or nocturnal animals that are not often seen.
Soos julle kan sien, manne daar so het die zebras met 'n spoed gekom van daai kant af en het hier gekom gly. Hier het ons 'n spoor wat hier afgaan en wil hierdie man met my verduidelik wat se spoor is dit? Aardvark.
Commonly known as an anteater, they emerge at sunset and can get through as much as 50,000 termites and ants a night using their long, sticky tongues. One of the aims of the Academy is to preserve indigenous knowledge by creating passionate African naturalists. And with that knowledge comes authenticity and accuracy to environmental education, whether it's used in anti-poaching efforts, research, conservation, or tourism.
A really skilled tracker can get off the vehicle, can follow tracks and find an animal, whereas a spotter often can't do that. We've just seen these tracks of the aardvark. Aardvark's not easy animals to find. So you've got people that have spent many years, saving to come to Africa and to come and look at wildlife, and may want to see a leopard or a lion or something difficult, an aardvark, for example, it often will take a skilled tracker to get off and to go on foot and follow that animal and find it and produce sightings for guests. These are skills, these are deep skills that become very attractive to people coming to Africa.
And to prove a point, Alex showed me just how much was going on right under my feet.
But we've got
Alex showed me just how much was going on right under my feet.
But we've got eland here. There's hartebeest. There's springbuck. There's a guinea fowl track here.
Nkau.
We've also got these monkey tracks here. So we've got four or five species just in this 2 meter squared area. So this is like, would be the equivalent of us getting up and reading a newspaper in the morning. And this is for me the beauty of tracking, is that you can walk out and without disturbing anything know more or less what has happened the night before.
The next morning was a very early start. Today the group will be put through another test. I was warned to wear good walking boots, as it was going to be a long day. Morning guys.
Alex, what are we up to today? We're busy running a following evaluation. So we're testing the tracker's ability to follow tracks until they can find the animal. So I think we'll head into this northern area close to the river, where there's a couple of white rhino have been moving for the last few days.
Great, so who's up first?
Briani's going to be first, and Kenny will be his assistant for the first evaluation.
The skill or art of tracking has been likened to the first science of science, as it requires deductive reasoning and for the tracker to put together a picture of an animal's movements. Good trackers need to have an intimate knowledge of the terrain and how animals behave to predict their location.
Alex, that spoor we saw back there now, is that fairly fresh or not?
No, that's from a day or two ago. You can see the edges are quite blown out. A lot of games walked on top of it and so on. So no, that's not a track worth us following at all.
I headed out with Alex, Porky and Renus to find the rhino spoor.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Hoping last night they would have come down to drink here, maybe on the northern end of the dam here. Yeah, this is perfect here. This is often where they come and drink in the evenings.
It amazed me how quickly these 3 highly experienced trackers moved through the bush. They were constantly scanning the ground in front and the bush ahead. Alex had explained to me trackers need to be keeping an almost 180-degree vision. They could identify all types of vegetation, mimic bird calls, and knew all the spoor we came across. They were like walking encyclopedias. In my view, I don't think any game reserve can claim to be authentic if they don't have a qualified tracker on their staff.
What's happening here, rhino? Okay, what Ren's saying, this is a rhino track here. Here's the main toe, the middle toe. Here is the right-hand toe, and then the left-hand toe. And it's not a very fresh track. So I think what we'll do is we've already checked the water, there's nothing there. We'll head down into this area and see if he's gone down towards the river. Okay. Here's the track, a much fresher track now, of the same mother and calf that we found earlier, going this way.
Okay, that's fantastic. That's exciting. Now we've got a much fresher spoor. Animals much closer. I think we must really get moving, eh?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Something really interesting has happened here. Alex is going to bring the students in to tell us the story.
It's at this point that Riani and Kenny take over. They'll be evaluated on their interpretations and finding the rhinos.
Kenny, what's happened over here?
Okay, here it was, the rhino calf was sleeping here. You can see here the skin marks here. It's the rhino calf.
Okay, what do you think, Riani?
Exactly, this is the rhino. The calf was laying down here, and the other one, the mother, was sleeping there, and they were starting to go
over there. Okay.
So they could be quite close now.
Yeah, they could be. And the wind is not in our favor. It's on our back, so it's blowing our scent towards the rhino. We need to go quite quietly now and go quite carefully.
Okay. And quickly?
No, we must slow down now.
Okay.
Yeah.
We were close, but we needed to get ahead and downwind.
But fresh down. Another one here. It's very warm. It's warm, and I think they're close by. We have to go drag them.
Okay, Bram, these rhinos are close by. They're still heading south. Let's keep going.
Little did we know that we were the ones being tracked.
Oh, right here. She's right here. Okay. Okay, stop.
Our scent had already warned them.
Just stay still. Don't move. Don't move. Camera as well.
There are 2 large male white rhinos in this reserve. One of them is very bad-tempered.
So the male has picked up our scent. We didn't even see the male. We were So the male has picked up our scent. We didn't even see the male. We were following the spoor of the cow and the calf, which are off to our right. He picked up our scent and came to investigate. Hence, sitting very, very still.
Thankfully, this was the good-natured male. Around the corner was the female and a calf, but we decided to leave them in peace.
You know, it's not just about the animal spoor and the vegetation. It's also about the birds. The birds play a vital role in the system. These guys are going to be tested on their knowledge of bird calls, the many bird calls in this area. We're going to go and take a sneak preview. And it's not as easy as you think. Well done. Everyone, are you listening?
Yeah, this is the brown-hooded kingfisher.
You listening, Kenny?
This is the jackal buzzard.
Good, well done. Jackal buzzard. Artist, we're coming to you.
Blue crane.
Okay, good. Okay, Ashley, you listening?
Yeah.
Well done, Ash. Alex, what's your personal vision? What really drives you to do this? This was never a decision for me. It's from the time I started to work in the bushveld, I was just fascinated by the marks on the ground, the tracks and the spoor and following. And having had Renius as a mentor just added to that. And so when I met Mrs. Rupert, it all just fell together. She was able to give us the opportunity for me to reach that dream.
And it's a dream come true for these 5 young men.
I'd like to see these guys go out and become ambassadors for conservation. I'd like them to become really good trackers. I think there's a lot of mediocrity out there, and I think that tracking gives one a very solid base in terms of understanding of wildlife and animal behavior and conservation in general. I'm just hoping that they can carry the Tracker Academy name highly, and that people will start to turn to us and say, we want our guys trained by you.
It's incredible just how much information one footprint can give you. Species identification, population density, even direction of travel. In fact, it's a whole story. Just think of the story this footprint can tell you.
Last month, newspapers carried a story highlighting the disgusting state of Bruma Lake. Recent E. coli levels were measured